Welcome back to another first impressions, this time Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. The Culling Game, Part 1. Synopsis on any list. After the Shibuya incident, a deadly Jujutsu battle known as the Culling Game, orchestrated by Noritoshi Kamo, erupts across 10 colonies in Japan. Haunted by guilt over the mass killings in Shibuya and wary of Suna's interest in Fushiguro, Itadori chooses not to return to Jujutsu High. Instead, he teams up with Shozo to exorcise the countless cursed spirits unleashed by Noritoshi Kamo. Amid this chaos, the Jujutsu headquarters revoked Yuji Itadori's suspended death sentence and appoint special grade sorcerer Yuta Okotsu as his executioner. Newly awakened, modern sorcerers and resurrected ancient ones, now fighting as players in the Culling Game, collide with conflicting motives, driving the world once more toward an age ruled by Jujutsu. So, Jujutsu Kaisen continues. Now, at the end of the last season, a couple of things happened. So, the Culling Game more or less went into effect. We got to know the rules. Additionally, we had on the sorcerer side, on the quote-unquote good side, we had 5 orders. One of them, Ghetto's execution order got reinstated. He was believed to be dead. He's back, so they say, okay, he's executed. He is to be executed on sight. Additionally, Gojo, I believe, got an execution order on him because he was seen as complicit with Ghetto. He was seen as a bad guy. The master of the Tokyo school, or whoever made Panda and these plushies, these cursed plushies, he was seen as being responsible. So he also, I believe, got execution order. I don't know Gojo and him execution or just imprisonment, one of the two. Itadori's execution order, which was on hold because of Gojo, was reinstated, and Yuta Okotsu was chosen as his executioner. That is what happened at the end of last season. Now, this season, we start very serene. I'm not going to spoil any important stuff. We, as stated here, Itadori did not go back to the school. He decided to stay with his new brother Shozo, the Blood Mage. And, they are there. We see him exorcise cursed spirits, as is stated here. Now, the first episode, the serene start, and then we go running. The show starts to run. We are full sprint. It is action. It is awesome. It is what you want. It goes Mach 10. It is exciting to watch. It is good quality. It is a good episode. Episode 2 comes around. We continue. We are just running. It's full speed. It is hype. It is awesome. Episode 3 runs around, and we run into a brick wall straight ahead. And all the momentum is gone. Now, this is, a little bit, it's a bit spoilery, but okay, let's go. I'm going to ratings, then I'm going to talk about episode 3. Okay? Now, these ratings, they don't mean anything. I'm not going to put my rating out. It's just arbitrary. It's what I see the first 3 episodes as, with some potential, a little bit counting in the potential that this season is going to have. So, again, these are more or less arbitrary because I can't really make a real rating until I see the whole season. Now, AniList has it at 84%. My anime list at 8.6. Now, if episode 3 was different, I would be at a 9, a 10 maybe. But with episode 3, I'm at a 8 out of 10. Now I know this is going to go up. I am pretty confident this season is going to be really exciting, really interesting, and it is going to go up. However, episode 3, not the best. Now, this is a spoiler. Let's just, let's talk about some of the episode. Episode 1, we get some good fights, some good action. We get, to see, some characters. Not gonna go into too much detail, but it is awesome. It is good. In episode 2, we continue. It is nice. People have the chance to shine. We see some abilities that we already have seen at some point, and we get to see some good action. And we get to see where the allegiances lie. This is one of the big questions I had at the end of episode 3. Not episode, but season 2. Where we have the, the enemy, the cursed spirits. We have the sorcerers, the good guys. And then we have Itadori, who is now in his own camp because he's not... The sorcerers don't want him, they want to kill him. And the cursed spirits don't want him and potentially kill him. So he's alone with Gojo. Gojo is gone, so he's alone. And I was questioning, I was sure Megumi would be on his side. I was pretty sure, Shozo, sure Todo would be on his side, even though we don't know what is going on with him. Now, Yuta Okotsu, I was pretty sure he would be on Itadori's side at the end of the season. At some point, my assumption was he would join. Now, that is not really how it goes, or how it went, which was surprising for me. But now the big part, episode 3. I feel like that was it was not a good episode. They tried their best to make it as digestible as possible. However, even though there was a whole episode spent, it's a setup. It's a setup episode. We get explained a lot of stuff, why we are doing stuff, how we get the different plans. Hey, we need to rescue Gojo. Okay, how are we going to do that? Sure. We need to, be part, or what the killing game is all about, what Tengen has to do with all of this. We get explained a lot of stuff, sure. We spent a whole episode. However, there are some parts that are still not really clear. The main part is around the killing game. There's some kind of barrier and humans are brought to the other side, which sounds like a euphemism for if they are killed or if they have to go across something to then gather cursed energy, to then prepare Tengen to assimilate with all of humanity, which is... it is very muddy. Other parts are, how to rescue Gojo. Okay, we have this part, which is part of the prison realm, but we can't really rescue him from that. We need something to deactivate curse powers. Okay. There are 2 tools that can do that. Both of them are gone. And we have now another option, which is one of the contestants. Okay. Understood. Done. But then we get to some of the other parts with Tengen, which is like, this is one of my big concerns. Having watched season 1 and season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen quite recently, there's a lot of, there are a lot of signs about the story which are placed really early on. The whole Ghetto thing, that you see his scars or his stitches the whole time, so you are like, oh, what is this about? Yuta is mentioned really early on, and it's like, okay, what is this about? However, Tengen, one of the big parts is Tengen did not get a replacement for the Star Plasma Vessel. Again, one of the things that got, beginning of season 2, which means pretty long ago that this was set up, coming into play again. And because he didn't get another vessel to assimilate with, he now turned into something more akin to a curse, so he can be manipulated by Ghetto and his curse manipulation. Okay, understandable. And because he evolved, he is now able to assimilate with anything, not only the Star Plasma Vessel. Which means, unless Noritoshi Kamo, who is in Ghetto at the moment, knows that is what would have happened, I feel this whole plan is very questionable. Because this whole plan hinges on Tengen evolving to be able to assimilate with everyone. I can see that maybe Noritoshi assumed he would be more to a curse if he doesn't get the Star Plasma Vessel. But the second part is a little bit questionable. So I hope we get like an explanation that maybe this happened before, because Noritoshi is pretty old. I'm assuming this is a bad sorcerer. He has like a million names. So that is a little bit iffy. However, still, we have a whole episode where we get explained what we want to do. We get explained the Culling game, that we want to go there, that we split up, that we try to enact rules in the Culling game, because that is rule number 8 or so, where you can get 100 points, you can enact another rule, and they want to get a rule that then allows people to just leave if they want to. And it's a whole episode of setup and explanation, and it is, even though they tried, it is not solved in an elegant way, in my opinion. It feels like Slime, the, conference room, but all the episodes squished together and presented a bit, presented in a more optimal way with flowcharts. That is we have fucking flowcharts that we need to explain this. Which again, I feel like was not solved elegantly. I don't know how the story is going to continue. I'm assuming that we are going to jump between all of these, groups. Because if not, you could have done smaller segments whenever the other group appears. And that is what is tanking the rating at the moment, at least. For me, quite a bit. Again, I understand it's the setup. I can understand why it's important, so you know what our idea is. However, I also have the feeling that, especially the whole plan with we get 100 points, we add another rule, that is going to be thrown out the window instantly. Because, hey, we can add rules. You know who can also add rules? Anyone else. And my assumption is that they will find, because one of the parts of the slow chart was like, find someone who has 100 points and get him to instate the rule we want. I'm assuming they get to someone they assume would help, and he's going to instate a rule that does the exact opposite. That is my assumption. Additionally, Noritoshi Kamo could just get one of his subordinates into the Culling game and get 100 points and act more rules that are beneficial to him as well. And that is probably going to happen. This one is probably going to be, crapshoot. Overall, again, first 2 episodes, awesome, excellent. I mean, you saw the meme probably with a guy, going through his hair while punching someone. It was awesome. Episode 3, not good.